Okay, ladies, you are live.
Clara, you're muted. Okay. Well, I'll introduce us. Welcome to Home Ownership Changed My Life. Today, my name is Sasha Allen, and we are joined with Kiana and Miss Clara. Oh, there you are. Oh, no, she's not. Okay. Hey, Kiana, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, my name is Kiana Jones, and I am a House in the Car ambassador, also co-host for Homeownership Changed My Life, and local board president of the Columbus Realtors Association in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, good day, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. I guess it just depends on when you are watching or where you're watching from. Just welcome. We thank you for joining us today for House Then the Car. And we are blessed today. We have Miss Letitia Grant, our chair of House Then the Car. Hello, Miss Letitia.
Hello, ladies. It's a pleasure joining you guys today. It's been such a long time since I've been on House in the Cars. Home ownership changed my life, but I absolutely love this segment.
Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Great to see you. Well, we are excited because this segment is about inspiring millennials, those of you who, I think there are like, 1.7 of y'all out there who make over $100,000 who have not purchased property. And so we want to inspire you, want to share stories of other people who have purchased homes to let you know you can do it too. And that there are a ton of resources that are available on the House in the Car website. That's House in the Car. You can go to the Facebook page or you can go to houseinthecar.com. Excuse me, 2.3 million now. Oh my gosh, 2.3 million millennials who are mortgage ready. Yes, indeed. And that's right, because we had our sponsor last time from Freddie Mac, who gave us updated numbers. So we got to get the facts and figures right. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But we want to really inspire you to let you know that it is possible. It is doable. And if you go to the House in the Car website, there's information about getting your credit together, about finding out what your FICO score is, because that's an important number for you to move forward, to know what that is. There are down payment assistance programs. You can just put in your address and that information will come up for you. So there's tons of resources. And we are here at the National Association of Real Estate Brokers to help you. We have ambassadors across the country who are there to service you. And those ambassadors have been trained. They know where the money is. They know how to assist you. And they are ready, willing, and able. So all you got to do is go to the website, click on your estate, find the ambassador that's there to assist you. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my beautiful co-host. You're rocking that pink today. I love that. And the red, of course, I'm a Delta girl, so I'm partial to red, but you are rocking the pink. It looks really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so today we are so lucky we get to interview our own Miss Kiana Jones. She is an amazing ambassador here. So Miss Kiana Jones, if you want to tell us a little bit about your home ownership story.
Well, sure. I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but down here in Columbus, Ohio. And I've been married, and I will tell you, I have embodied House in the Car before it became cool. You can ask my husband, and he said, Kiana said House in the Car too, because I'll tell you, we were living in, we were renting a 1-story home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And at the time, we only had our first daughter, which was awesome, Natalia. And so that was perfect for our little family. Little did I know, 2 more children would come in the course of 2 more years. So then we had 3 kids in this ranch home. And my husband would say, we just need more space. And he always wanted his mom to come and stay with us. You know, she had recovered from a stroke and he just really wanted her to stay with us. But I'm like, in this house, I don't know if that's going to work. But our friends started purchasing homes, and, you know, that put the desire to say, you know what, I want to purchase a home. Why are we looking to rent again? So, you know, the first time we struck out, you know, that's when you kind of realize how important credit is. You know, you're like, I need better credit than what you have for renting sometimes. So we worked on that. And about 6 months later, we said, okay, we're ready. And it's just funny how, you know, the Lord order your steps, because we lost out on some homes. And when we saw this foreclosure, it had a bedroom on the first floor with a Jack and Jill bathroom. And as soon as we walked in, you know, he said, you know, this is my mom's room. You know, she doesn't have any steps or anything. And this house is 3 times the size of, you know, what we were living in. So when I tell you, when the Lord orders your steps, all of those stories that I read on the internet that kept me up at night about they're going to cancel my loan right before closing, all this crazy stuff, none of it. None of it. We went straight to the closing table. So home ownership has just truly changed our lives. For one, we were able to have his mother come and stay with us the last 2 years of her life, which was a blessing. It allowed my children to wake up and see their grandmother every day. I am so big on multi-generational families living under one roof. So that was a blessing. And fast forward 6 years later, our home is worth twice as much as what we paid for it. So
wow,
that's always a plus too.
That is awesome. So how old were you when you purchased the first property? If you don't mind me asking.
No, you're fine. This is our first home that we purchased. We purchased it 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I was a millennial. Let's say that.
Okay.
Now I consider myself a zennial. Is that what I am?
I think that's right. You could be a millennial, it's fine.
You're an exennial.
Exennial, yes.
Exennial. Well, you look like a millennial, and that transition from, you know, from renting to the ownership, like what was the mindset that made you say, okay, we want to get out of that game and get into this one?
Well, you know, we had, for one, friends around me were purchasing homes. And of course, we were stable, working. Why can't we purchase a home? And on top of that, which was really funny, the home we were renting, we knew we were renting it under market value. And the landlord, I just had a sense that, you know, he's going to go up on the rent. And when we kind of looked at the rents at other places for us to move, it just did not make sense. And so that's where our home search started. And it was funny because when we called our landlord, we called to fire him. That's what I call it, firing your landlord. But when we called him and said, you know, we found a house, we're going to be moving out, he said, I was just about to call you to let you know I was going up on the rent.
Wow.
So that was we were out of there. And not looking back at all.
That's good. So, okay, I know you said you guys had to get ready and get your credit together. So what are some of the things you and your husband had to do to restore your credit?
Well, we had to pay off some credit cards, as most people have to do. Having an accounting background, I didn't know if I wanted to be a real estate agent or a lender because I was intrigued with the finance side of it. So I studied all the debt to income ratios to death. And so I knew what was affecting my score, and I knew what also would ultimately affect my affordability. So we paid the credit cards down, it increased the score, we saved money. And then here comes my husband mad at his Impala that he had. And he's like, we need a new car. And I'm like, oh, no, we don't need a new car. We need a new house. And so that's why I say I've been a proponent of this, because he was the first one that says, I said, no, we're not purchasing anything until we get this house.
Mm-hmm. So what
And
was your
that's a
first
really,
purchase? Go ahead, Clara, sorry.
oh, I was saying that's actually a great story, you know, because that's the premise of house and the car. You know, people don't realize that debt to income, you know, how much it shifts your debt to income, which is really important for purchasing a house. So you can get the house, get the car after you get the house, but if you do it the other way around and your debt to income is bumped up, a lot of times that, you know, puts you out of the way. And I like something else that you said. You know, you said God was with you, you know, and I tell clients all the time, what is for you is for you, like the perfect, in divine order, everything that you need for you and your family. If you're clear, you know, if you're clear about what your intention is and what you want, you know, God will line that thing up and he'll shut doors and shut doors and shut doors and shut doors so that you can get to the door that's supposed to open for you. So I really commend you on being patient, you know. Sometimes we're forced to be patient, but, you know, just to see that it all worked out. And that's really a good story for people who are watching, for them to know it takes time sometimes, you know, and you just have to be patient. But what's for you will come. And in the long run, you said that the property is worth, did you say after 6 years, twice as much, or?
It's worth twice as much. You know, I count my neighborhood all the time, and I still go and look at all the homes in my neighborhood. If you don't list with me, then I'm going to look at your house. But I would go and I would get feedback and say, no way. And it's unreal. I mean, the market's crazy. So we're definitely trying to see how we can leverage that to possibly purchase additional properties. So to move on and continue the growth for our wealth.
Indeed, indeed. The other thing that I was thinking about, this new word, entanglement. Y'all, everybody's talking about entanglement, and to me, renting is like entanglement. It's like you're in a relationship without benefits, right? You know, you're in this relationship with no benefits. But when you purchase, because you're paying rent to the landlord, you know, he's giving you a little something, but you know, they can demand things of you, but you can't demand anything back, right?
Yeah. That is true. I'll have to incorporate that.
I know, right?
Yeah. So some of the benefits you mentioned, tell us some more benefits of being a homeowner versus being a renter. One is the equity that you mentioned. You get the increased value of the property. You get to take advantage of that. Yeah.
I mean, we have more space. That's definitely a plus. We have a lot more space. We're rooted into the community, into our neighborhood. So we are familiar with, being in an apartment community. People don't like the word transient, but more people move in and out in those communities. So you really don't have the opportunity to build those relationships with your neighbors sometimes like you would do in a neighborhood where you've purchased even a condo, because home ownership, most people are at least in it for 5 years, so we really love our neighborhood that we're in, and the children have friends to play with. That I'll tell you, we liked our old neighborhood kind of, but the kids weren't allowed to play with certain, it just was kind of weird. So I'm just really glad where we're at now. And again, like I said, we're looking to leverage that to possibly purchase some additional properties.
That would be nice. So what's the first thing you bought after you purchased your home?
Sasha.
That Impala your husband wanted.
Yes. We purchased a car. We purchased a house and then we purchased the car. And it was funny. We purchased in 2014. And the funny story behind that is, again, my husband hated the car. He's like, we need a car. And I would not let him get the car. Well, we got the house. And then a month later, he's like, those new Impalas are out. And we went and got it with no problem, I'll tell you. And what people have to understand is, once you've closed on that house, and it just boosts your credit up even more. So when you think about whatever rate you were paying before, when you walk in there and you see the rates that they're offering you now as a homeowner after your credit has updated, wow, you're like, yes, I didn't know I could afford a brand new car and my payment would actually be reasonable when you're used to going to other places and you don't have, that equity or those assets to really account for your credit. So that's another way homeownership can change your life as far as putting you in a better credit situation to be able to afford other things.
Indeed, indeed. Sasha, you had another question for her?
Yes. Well, do you feel like if you had House in the Car website, would that have been a benefit to you at the time?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
because 6 years ago, you just had to find your information wherever you found it. Google was your best resource. And so I can't tell you how many mortgage calculators and credit score simulators, and I don't even know if they were accurate. I don't know what sites I was on. And then you have to sign up for these different sites and they're all emailing you all this stuff. And now you've given so many places access to things like that where, the website houseinthecar.com is pretty much all in one. It's not going to require a bunch of personal information. You know more about you than House in the Car does. So, you get out of it what you put into it. But yeah, I wish that was around back then so that I wouldn't have to be searching so many different resources to attain that information.
Yeah. Now, were you working with the Realtist or were you your own, who was your real estate professional?
I wish at the time I had worked with a Realtist, but I was like a lot of other millennials out there where you just go with whoever is out there and you think they know something. So I was that person. I just asked a couple of friends, do you know a real estate agent? And they sent me to them and it worked like that. In hindsight, looking, back at the transaction, it could have been different, but absolutely the service that Realtors will give you holistically through the transaction and beyond. I know that I feel that I would have been in a much better position negotiation wise with regards to getting our home and maybe have even more equity, but okay.
Well, for those people who don't get it, we are saying Realtist, which is Realtist, Realtist. And the difference between a Realtist and a Realtor is that Realtists are members of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, one of the oldest real estate trade organizations. 1947 is when the organization was founded. And Realtist professionals have a toolkit. It's like the difference between tissue and Kleenex, right? It's a different kind of brand. And with that brand, you get expertise. You guys are laughing at me, but for real, you get an expertise that, you don't get with a realtor because realtors have education that is par none. Realtors are invested in the community in making sure that people who look like you and I, people of African or African-American descent, and I got that distinction from one of our guests who was on, because it's different being African-American and being American. I guess, well, I know she called us Afrikaans, but anyway, there's a difference. So you really want someone who knows what we go through to be your advocate, to know where the money is, to be your advocate, to know the neighborhoods, to be your advocate, to know where the resources are, to be your advocate. And a lot of times, no shade against my realtor sisters and brothers, because no shade at all, but
Of course, too.
I think that we give a little bit more care, and we really, we look at people as our sisters and brothers, and we really want what's best for our client. We're not just trying to get a paycheck. And at the end of the day, we do want to be paid for our services, but we have the best interest of our clients in mind. And as members of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, we know that home ownership matters. Like 89% of Americans' wealth is based in real estate, right? And so we want as many people as possible. We want to get the African American community from under 50% home ownership rate up to 70 or 80% home ownership rate. And we have a mandate to have 2 million more African American homeowners in 5 years because we are behind the 8 ball. And it's definitely a wealth building tool, as Kiana mentioned. The equity alone, people don't realize what you can do with equity. So ladies, what are 3 things that you can do with equity? Like, how can you use that money?
I'll go first. Well, you can use it for renovations. That's always a plus.
Well,
College, go
as
ahead.
I stated earlier, you can actually use it to leverage into purchasing another property. Again, it doesn't have to be the first property you purchase. It's just your first property. It doesn't have to be the one that you live in forever, but definitely use it to leverage.
Indeed. Sasha, you were going to say something else?
Yes, I was going to say, reading notes around. Going back to what you were saying about the realtist and how much we try to educate ourselves for our community. I'm in a community that they don't really do too many, look, I'm trying to keep it together here. They don't really do too many like kind of cash down assistance programs like, sometimes we need. So here I had a hard time finding a lot of lenders that do those here. So actually I had to go to Oakland, which is 2 hours away, to my other fellow realtist, which I love. And, they just teach me so much. It's so helpful every time I go down there. They're packed with knowledge. And so of course I don't mind driving 2 hours, and they have the best food out in Oakland. So
Indeed.
But yeah, so we really try to keep on top of our education and just trying to find as many resources for our clients as possible.
And I'll add that what's important about it is, as I sit here and talk about how homeownership changed my life, that carries over into how I service my clients, because I'm rooting for you all the way. I want homeownership to change your life the same way that it's changed my life. So I am rooting for you all the way to the closing table. I can't speak for other agents out there, but I know that's a driving force for me with regards to working with other people. And I tell them that, hey, I was just where you are 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I am living proof to show you where you can be 6 years from now. So it's an awesome feeling to see them get to the closing table and be able to experience the things that I'm able to experience, as well as other homeowners.
Indeed. Yeah. And people can go to the House in the Car website on Facebook. Excuse me. Well, yeah, you can go on Facebook, but you can go to the houseinthecar.com website to find the ambassadors or realtors that are in your area to assist you. And there is a difference, all kidding aside, there is a difference between working with a realtor and working with a realtor, especially when you go through challenging times. So Kiana, what would you say was the most challenging part of your process?
Well, 2 things. Well, I'll tell you the most challenging part of the process, and I don't want to disclose too much, but it's water under the bridge. But it was a foreclosure, and there were a couple of issues that came up with the financing, not with me, just in processing. And so I don't know if you're familiar with working with bank-owned homes, but you need to request that extension well before the day before closing. So that was really stressful that we had to get an extension. I'll tell you, this transaction was just a comedy of errors. We sit back and laugh all the time of the craziness with this. One thing that's interesting, I just want to share, is that we already had a cruise planned around this time. And so that's why we were really pushing the closing. And then they wanted to extend the closing to stress me out. So we literally closed, and 6 o'clock the next morning, we were on a flight to go on a cruise. So that was pretty cool, you know, to be able to leave and then come back to your home. So you can still travel, you can still purchase the car that you want, you can still do all of these things. Whatever you think about home ownership, so-called tying you down, that does not happen. If anything, it's going to help you live the life that you want to live. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, definitely a wealth builder, because there's no other asset that you can purchase. Like when you purchase that car, as soon as you take it off the lot, it is depreciating in value. You know, you
Yes.
can't get from it what you put into it, right? That you're paying 4 or 5 years. You invest 4 or 5 years, and the return on your investment is not the same. You keep a property for 4 or 5 years, it appreciates in value. And whether you sell it, you know, whether you pull the equity out to do whatever you need to do, that value is there for you if you move up, you know, like you talked about, to the next property, because it's just the first property. And I tell people all the time, buy what you can afford, you know, buy the functionality, buy the neighborhood. Yeah. And that, you know, will serve you in the future, whether you buy to invest if you don't want to live there. But everybody's got to live somewhere. We all rent it. Everybody rents at some point in life somewhere, and people have to live. People live everywhere. So no matter where a property is, if you can afford to purchase it, you know, that might be your first home, you know. So do what you need to do, but make that investment and look at it as an investment. So I really commend you, Kiana, for seeing the investment in home ownership and realizing that, you know, that was the next move for you and your family. And look, you know, you brought your mother-in-law, had that time. I mean, that's priceless in and of itself. Right? Mm-hmm. That is, yeah, that's really priceless.
Thank you so much. I mean, I can't say anything bad about home ownership. I mean, who can, you know? So, you know, it's not, we've had issues with the home, but, you know, home warranty, we've prepared for other things. And, you know, there's just a sense of security that you can't get any other way.
Yeah. Did you get a home warranty?
Oh yeah, we have a home warranty, and hey, I'm an agent. I mean,
well, we'll talk about that, because other millennials, extennials, may not know the value or the benefits of a home warranty.
Oh yes, because I'll even, you know, in our crazy market that we have right now, where it's a straight seller's market, I still try to encourage buyers to purchase that home warranty. Just in the first year after you've purchased your home, you do not want any unexpected large purchases. You don't want a water heater, a furnace, AC. You don't want any of those things to go out. And you don't want to have to pay a trip fee plus repairs every time either. You've just put a ton of money down. So we have a home warranty in, and I'll tell you, I just got my mother to sign up for the home warranty finally. And she is so excited because she didn't understand all the stuff that she could clump together on there. And she has 5 different things for electricity coming out. So absolutely, you have to utilize it for what it's there for, and make sure that your home stays maintained, because delayed maintenance over time is just like driving your car and you don't do oil changes and things like that. So you want to take care of that investment as well.
Indeed, indeed. And it is less expensive to purchase the home warranty associated with your settlement. Like when you're purchasing the house, if you get a home warranty outside of when you're purchasing it, it costs you a little bit more. Not to say that you can't get it, but it does cost a little bit more. So build that into your contract of things that you request from the seller. And if they don't give it to you, purchase it yourself, add that into your closing costs and keep it up, because it's worth the money that that you put into it. My mom has gotten a refrigerator, brand new stove, just for, keeping her home warranty up. So it's an insurance, basically. Yeah, it's an insurance. but it's worth the money that you spend for, especially for those big ticket items. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, it looks like we're close to closing now, so I'll start with closing remarks. I want to say thank you so much, Miss Kiana Jones. I really enjoyed interviewing you, and I can't wait to do it again.
Well, thank you all. I enjoyed sharing my story with you guys. I tell everybody home ownership will change your life. So why not be a interviewee on here? So no, thank you for allowing me to share my story with everyone today. If anyone wants to hear more, there is so much more to that story. We can have a part 2, whatever you want to do. But thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I want to know how you became a real estate professional. Like,
Claire's ready for part 2.
That's part 2. But what I will tell you is,
the short version.
I got my real estate license and bought my home in the same breath.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Awesome. 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 That is amazing. And a lot of people, it's COVID. Folks are getting their real estate license, and it's not like on television.
No.
There are a lot of hours. People don't look at 3 houses and pick one.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I wish we had houses to look at out here, honestly.
Yeah, the inventory is really low right now. But if you are in a position, if you're one of those 2.3 million millennials who is eligible, you're eligible to purchase a home. You've got over a 620, 640 credit score. Your debt to income is decent, and you're making money. This is the time. This is the time to invest now for your future. So we want to encourage you. We thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Ms. Kiana, for sharing your story. Thank you, Ms. Sasha, for sharing some fabulous questions for Kiana and what's going on in your market. I'm sorry, I can't see today. But we just want to invite you all to come back. House in the Car is an initiative of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. We are wanting to encourage and inspire you to invest in real estate before you purchase that car, which is a depreciating asset, into the home that is an appreciating asset. We encourage you also to go to the House in the Car website and get the information on your FICO score, on down payment assistance, on all of the resources that are going to assist you in making the process easier, so you can say, home ownership changed my life. And we hope that you join us again for Millennial Talk Tuesday, which will be next week, and come back again for Home Ownership Change Our Life, for the next phenomenal story of another millennial sharing their story to inspire you that you too can do it. You too can be a homeowner. Thanks. See you next time.